Hello everyone, this is Natalie from the Moonshadow Garden and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be doing a reading on the upcoming month, which is going to be June. And the way I do it is that I have developed a special way of reading cards, which are my own cards by the way, with my partner, and I'm going to explain to you how to do it. I normally do that on people, which is kind of a personality type of reading, looking into what's going on with a certain person at the moment. But you can also do that, of course, for the month. So let's just take a look at it. The first card we're going to pull is the Essence. So this is the main thing that's going on this month. And then normally we have some kind of blockage or something that is kind of maybe in the way. Next one is the element of wood. Wood is the liver, everything that has to do with detoxing, letting go, but also growing. So what we're thinking about here is you look at the seed that is so strong that it can push through the cement of the road. So this is the childhood part. It looks at where the issue, the blockage comes from, what kind of nature it has. Then we go up to fire. Fire is our strength, our heart. Where is our courage? What are we focusing on? Where do things really flow easily? And then we look at metal or air. Air is the lungs, of course, but also the future, the wisdom, clarity. So if you look at the metal element, the sword, of course, comes to mind. So it's where... How are you doing? How are we doing with clarity in the month of June? Next up is the element of water, and water is our fears, and maybe where things stem from. We all come from water and we go back to water. If you look at traditional Chinese medicine, this is how the wheel goes. And then we go into the finer nuances of the bodily experience. So in a physical matter, what do we need and where do things really flow easily? And then we look at the same thing from the mental and psychical, the spiritual perspective. So what do we need and what really does come easy to us? Okay, let's start with the first card. The first card is the Fox. So everything at the moment is very much about, it's almost like we're playing chess. So June has the essence that you have to be very clever, very rational with your ways of acting. Decisions come really easily. But there are certain decisions that you have to take a very wise and clever approach about. So this is the main center around June. If you have changes coming about, think about them. The blockage is the skunk. And the skunk always tells me that there's something going on with boundaries. So what I feel what's coming up is that it's very likely that you've had some commitments where you said yes to, and now you maybe have a tendency to come off as really cold and strict and strong and pushy. Like the way you say no now, since you're already on your limit, could come across as quite harsh, not so much playful. So the skunk in itself is a very playful animal, but it loses that kind of aspect once it gets triggered. So look at the triggers. The triggers are really important. So where does the trigger stem from? Let's otter. Otter is playfulness. So yes, everything maybe is a little more stern, a little more less flowy actually. So what I feel right now coming up is that whenever you have a certain routine that demands punctuality, a strict and filled calendar, lots of meetings, lots of calls. You just go from one thing to the next and you're sort of in that functioning robot mode that doesn't help you along. And so there is the part of the playfulness that kind of got lost on the way. And now, yeah, we have the skunk now, which is kind of turning pissy. If you look at the fire, things that are really working out is the bear. And the bear is, here indicates kind of an earthy being. So while you're still pissed that the playfulness isn't there, what's really working out at the moment is that you still have everything together, right? So you're managing everything quite well. So while the playfulness isn't there, the management aspect and the things that are working out, things that are like meetings and plans that you had, and you have all your ducks lined up in a row, so to say. And that gives you the kind of stability to go through the month. If we look at the metal or the air element, what comes up is the wolf. And the wolf at the moment tells me that the solution with the playfulness is to get back into that kind of tribe-like feeling, because that is what we've been missing through the whole Corona stuff. Many of us felt quite lonely and kind of cut off from our social contacts. And now it's time to come out of that kind of hiding place and really ask yourself, where is it possible that you can ask others to help you along? And not what comes up is, especially with the ideas, there's something in there where you are stuck. There's a blockage around solving things playfully, creatively, and the message that comes in clearly is that you're not supposed to do it on your own. This is a group endeavor. And if we look at the water element, the anxiety around is the tiger. So since the tiger comes up here, it would seem like you're afraid of the reaction of certain people, or even the consequences. So, and since the tiger is an animal that lurks in the shadow, it's not an open hunter, it's more in the background, it's very hidden. The things that you fear are not clear to you. You can't see them at the moment. It's just a feeling, a sense of danger, a sense of how is the other person going to react? How is your surrounding going to take in your ideas, your plans, your visions? It's a lot about mental anxieties, actually. So let's look at the body first. What the body needs is the cat. And what does the cat do? The biggest lesson that the cat has for me personally is that it just sits or lays down or relaxes in spaces where it considers the space, the place, to be energetically rich and providing. And if it's in front of the door or in the middle of the living room, it doesn't care if it's a couch or if that is a place where you're supposed to sit. The cat doesn't care about rules, laws, whatever. It just intuitively takes whatever is nice to her and lives that out. So it's a bit about abandoning the social rules. If I were to talk about yoga, for example, it doesn't need the full strict sun salutation. Maybe it's more about intuitive stretching or something, right? And what works out really well in the body is if you were to activate the otter, what comes about is the spider, and the spider is being really creative with the way you go about. And what comes up is just movement, the way you move, the way you train, the way you tell yourself you should take more care about your body. You implement that in some kind of playful activity. For me, it's dance. If I had to run a marathon, that wouldn't be much fun for me. I'm not the kind of jogger runner type. But if you present it to me in a sort of playful dance activity where, of course, I start to sweat and I burn my calories and I move, but it doesn't come across as strict. So find something playful, creative to move yourself. If you look at the spiritual card, what's needed is the goldfish. And the goldfish is a creature that you could throw into the dirtiest kind of water and it will still survive. So since that is what is lacking at the moment, it tells me that there is a certain kind of sensitivity about your environment at the moment. So you feel more sensitive to noises, smells, everything needs to be a little bit more, it's about cleaning actually. Yeah, it's about cleaning out old stuff. There's just, it feels cramped. Spiritually, we're talking about mental cleansing. So if there are certain, hey, kitty break, if there are certain thoughts that just run amok in your head and that are returning and returning and returning, it kind of muddies your water. You're not able to think as clearly or connect to your intention and intuition as clearly. So let's look at the strengths. The strength is the dog. So, and this is the answer actually to the goldfish issue. The dog is about loyalty. It's about showing up again and again and again. So if you are having a daily practice, maybe meditation, maybe drawing mandalas, maybe, I don't know, reading a really sensitive and good book, the dog comes back to it again and again and again. The dog likes taking walks. So the kind of clearance of your mind takes place over a really friendly, openly kind of way. If you look at the month of June in here, everything is about making things more playful and seeing possibilities instead of blockages. Thank you so much for watching, and we will talk very soon. Bye-bye.